Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be speaking about something quite juicy. Something quite taboo. You know, a little bit uncomfortable. So yeah, we're just going to be talking about ADHD plus autism and sex. So I think I've seen it called like AuDHD, which is like ADHD merged with autism. Yeah, so we're just going to talk about ADHD and autism and sex and how it can affect an individual. But before we start, if you could smash me a big thumbs up down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I will forever be grateful. So yeah, let's get on to the video. So as someone who has ADHD and autism, I find certain aspects, certain situations within a romantic relationship really difficult to navigate, really difficult to understand, and basically it just makes me feel a little awkward, a little like, what do I do now? Like, it doesn't make situations romantically very romantic, because I can just be like, oh, so are we doing it now? What like, are we meant to be yeah, it can make things a little awkward and a little bit like, yeah, I'm not in the mood now. Yeah, it's a little bit like, as you can see, it's a little bit of an awkward subject for me, but I know that a lot of you guys have asked me, has it affected my sex life, my relationships? And as you guys know, it definitely has. It has affected a lot of aspects of sex life and romantic relationships. I mean, I'm not going to get too personal about my own life because, you know, I'm not putting it all on the internet, but it can and it has got in the way of romantic relationships for me personally, and we're just going to discuss why that is, basically. Yeah, so yeah, certain situations can make me feel a little awkward, a little uncomfortable, because I'm not sure how I should be reacting or what I should be doing, because I'm just so socially awkward. I don't understand like a lot of like communication, like cues, like yeah, well, okay, it could just be really uncomfortable, overwhelming and awkward for me. So yeah, like I said, it has definitely ruined a lot of aspects of a relationship for me personally. Like situations, romantic situations, intimate situations, they don't feel natural, they feel very uncomfortable, awkward, and it's just like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like flirting and like, it just doesn't feel very natural to me. It's almost like I need a script, like, can you tell me what I need to be saying here? Like, I need an interpreter, even in intimate relationships, because it's just like, what yeah, definitely don't come to me for relationship advice, because I don't feel like I am the one to come to, because I'm just no good at it, guys. Yeah, I know not every single person who has ADHD and autism are going to have the same experiences as I do. So you've got to remember, this is a personal kind of encounter. Like, I am telling you my personal experiences. This isn't going to be the same for everybody. So yeah, some people with ADHD will have hypersexuality. Some people with ADHD may have hyposexuality. It can really make relationships seem impossible when you're trying to balance what's going on in your own head. And when you have ADHD and autism, what works for one, like for your ADHD just doesn't work for your autism, and what works for your autism doesn't work for your ADHD, and trying to balance that on top of a relationship, it just seems impossible. It just seems like you're juggling so much, and it's just like, how am I going to make any of this work? Because it's just like, you have to put yourself in situations and that you may not feel comfortable with, and that's a part of life, like, we know that is. But then you've also got another person in this relationship that you also have to think about, and it's just like, how can I do all of that on top of trying to juggle what's going on in my head, trying to make sure that I'm feeling comfortable with the situation, and also juggle the other person, how they're feeling, and you know, it is honestly really confusing. It feels like I am treading on like a piece of Lego everywhere I go. It's so uncomfortable, because I'm just like, what am I supposed to be doing here? So having ADHD and autism has made relationships and like intimate relationships feel impossible for me, and I do steer away from all of it because it's just very uncomfortable. I don't know how to act, and I just feel very awkward, and it's just not a situation I like to find myself in. And you know, it has affected a lot of my relationships, and it has made me just kind of like, no, I just steer away completely, and I'm just like, I can't be romantically involved with anyone because I just don't understand the relationship side of things. Like, it's very confusing to me. It's just like, I just don't know. It's very awkward to speak about because it's not something that society kind of make you feel that you're kind of like okay speaking about. It makes you feel like it should not be spoken about because it's like very taboo. But it is a subject that a lot of neurodivergents really struggle with because it does make you feel like you're not normal, and like you will never have a romantic relationship, that you will never find someone who truly appreciates you, understands you. It generally does like put a lot of pressure on you as an individual to find that right person, and you feel like, I don't know about anyone else, but you almost have a script, like a social script, and it doesn't work in intimate settings and intimate relationships. It doesn't work like that, and I think you can kind of lose a little bit of control when it comes to intimate relationships. And I'm not on about like anything inappropriate or anything like that. I'm just on about sensory overload, like sensory overstimulation, and you know, it's a very tricky topic to speak to anybody about, especially when you feel like you're going to be judged for speaking about it, and it makes you feel like you're not normal, so you basically just don't speak to anybody because you're just like, I can't be dealing with that. So like I just said, flirting and like pick-up lines, it's really difficult for people who are autistic to sometimes pick up on like verbal cues and understand communication cues and stuff like that, like sarcasm. It's a very difficult thing for me personally, but I also know that it is a very common difficulty and struggle for a lot of people who are autistic and also who are ADHD and autistic. It's a very difficult kind of thing to navigate and to understand because like it can make you feel like, right, okay, am I missing these signals, or am I completely reading them wrong? I don't know about you guys, but I have in the past, if a male that I think is quite good looking or is paying me attention and is like flirting, having a joke about, I can misinterpret that and make it kind of, I make myself believe that this person like fancies me, or like, oh, this person wants to be romantically involved with me, and like it has sometimes turned into a little bit of a miscommunication, and this person's like, oh no, I was just being kind, I was just being nice to you to make you feel happy, like, you know. Yeah, it doesn't work like that for me personally. Situations just make me feel very awkward, and now I struggle because I've been in situations where I've misread them and misunderstood them, and I've made myself feel very humiliated by kind of like, oh, this person fancies me. No, they don't. They're just being kind moles. They don't read too much into it. But I've made myself feel very uncomfortable in situations, and now I just kind of like just don't bother because I'm just like, no. So this part goes for people who don't have ADHD and autism together. They may just have ADHD, they may just be autistic. But if you struggle with sensory processing disorders, like if you really struggle with like sensory overloads and stuff like that, an intimate relationship can trigger sensory overload. Obviously, I'm not going to go too much into detail here, but in an intimate relationship, obviously it's meant to feel good, it's meant to make you feel great, you know. It's a passion, it's a love of, like, it's a passion, right? So it's an act of love and passion, and being intimate with somebody does involve, you know, some things that may trigger sensory overload, and this can be an issue. So a really common trait amongst us ADHDers is having a real hard time maintaining focus and being easily distracted, and this doesn't stop during intimate relationships, like intimate moments like sex. It doesn't stop during sex. I'm just gonna get on with it and just say things now. I'm an awkward person, as you can see, so yeah, this situation is not great for me, but hey ho, we're talking about it. So yeah, it doesn't stop during sex. Basically, you can be easily distracted, you can get bored and just like, nah, I'm not feeling it now. And again, this again can cause a lot of issues in relationships. If your partner is neurotypical, they may not understand that it's not them that aren't like keeping you interested. It's not a personal thing. And I guess if you aren't neurodivergent, you probably won't understand how, you know, how hard it can be to understand that, because people would feel like, oh, it's me, they're not interested in me, they don't love me anymore, they're not attracted to me. But the thing is, it's not about that. It's not about that we're not attracted to you, that we don't love you. It's nothing like that. It's generally us, and I know that sounds super cliche to say, like, it's not you, it's me. It generally is us. Like, it's an issue that we have, and as much as it annoys you, trust me, it annoys us. Like, don't you think we would just absolutely love to be able to shower our significant others with affection, love, intimacy, sex? Don't you think that would be a great scenario and none of this would be a problem? But it is a problem, and I think it needs to be spoken more about, because it can affect a lot of relationships. I get messages about this all the time, and I try to explain that please don't take it personally. It's not something that this person can like switch on and off. Just because you're having sex, that doesn't mean this person's ADHD is gonna go. It doesn't work like that. For some, great, it might, but it doesn't work like that all the time. So people with ADHD and autism, you know, we do like have fluctuating moods, and they do change. Like I say, certain situations, so if you're like feeling awkward, uneasy, uncomfortable, stuff like that, it can trigger a lot of our traits. It can make us feel frustrated, anxious, very angry, and our moods can change like really like fast, and obviously that can affect intimacy. It can make your partner feel like they aren't good enough, and it can trigger arguments. It can cause arguments because they're like, I'm not good enough for you, you don't love me, you're not attracted to me. Yeah, and you know, your moods can really change, and you're like, one minute you can be up for having sex and the next minute you can't, and this your partner, you know, it's not exactly something you want to write on your Tinder bio. So you might be thinking like, you know, how can I change this? How can I make the situation better? How can I, you know, open up? And you know, I don't have the answers. I am not a sex therapist. I am not a relationship counsellor. I'm really not. I haven't had a relationship in like 5+ years. I'm generally just not interested, because I just feel like nobody would understand me apart from myself, so I might as well just live with myself and be a loner with like 20 dogs. But yeah, basically what I'm getting at is, my tips personally would be to be really honest and open as soon as you get into a relationship. I know you might be thinking, but that might scare someone off, but the thing is, if they like you and, you know, and they are attracted to you, the thing is, this shouldn't put someone off. It should not make someone feel, oh god, I'm not doing that. Of course there might be a bit like, oh, but being open and honest is the best policy always when it comes to a relationship. When you are going to get romantically involved with someone, I feel like it's really important to tell that person how you feel openly, honestly, have a direct line of communication always, and always be honest. You know, if you feel like, I'm just having sex to make the other person happy, that isn't okay. You need to always be open and honest and just say, look, I'm really not enjoying this, it's making me feel very anxious, I'm overstimulated, and I just don't enjoy it. You know, there needs to be open communication, and you need to like be like, you know what, my moods change. Sometimes I want sex, sometimes I don't, and in the moment I might, and then 10 seconds later my mood could really change and I'm just like, no thank you. You know, there needs to be open communication so that the other person doesn't feel like it's them and like they aren't good enough, but also you need to think of yourself and make sure that, one, you are looking after yourself, two, that, you know, what you're doing it because you want to do it and not because you feel like you have to. You know, you are just as a priority in a relationship as the other person, so there needs to be a 50-50 thing here. Like, if you're happy and they're happy, great. If you're not happy and you're doing it to keep them happy, you know, then that's not okay. Vice versa. If this other person isn't having sex because the person with ADHD and autism, you know, doesn't enjoy it, that doesn't mean this person you know, you shouldn't, oh, I don't know. Basically what I'm trying to say is open communication, be open and honest, and talk. Have a direct line of communication so that you can both talk about things. I don't know what you're going to talk about, I don't want to know, but yeah, just have a direct line of communication so that you can speak about what you like, what you don't like, what you know, what makes you triggered, what doesn't, you know, just have a direct line. Be super honest, and hopefully that will work for you. Yes. But yeah, like I say, I am not a sex or relationship therapist. I'm not a specialist. I'm just telling you from personal experience, being open and honest is the way forward in this particular scenario. You know, maybe it doesn't work because I'm single. But do you know what? Don't even listen to me. No, there are specialists out there that could help you in your relationship. Because I'm not a sex... I'm just here to tell you that having ADHD and autism could affect your sex life. This video could be like 10 seconds long, but I bet it's going to be like 20 minutes because I'm just gassing on. But yeah, always make sure you're happy. Only do things that you want to do, and make sure the other person in the relationship is happy and you're doing what they want to do because they want to do it too. Does that make sense? Consent is always a must. Don't do things... I don't know what I'm going on about here. Just make sure you want to do it and they want to do it, then you could do it. If you don't want to do it and they want to do it, that doesn't mean you have to do it. Basically, yeah. But no, in all seriousness, our ADHD and autism can affect intimate relationships, sex, and all of that malarkey, right? But it doesn't mean that we aren't worthy of relationships, or that we aren't good enough for other people, or that people shouldn't, you know, get in relationships with neurodivergence. No, I'm just here to tell you that it can affect your relationships, sex, and relationships. It can. But you know, there are ways to work this out. Do your own research. I'm not going to tell you what to Google. But yeah, go do your own research. Reach out to professionals. There are people out there that are super trained to help you in these specific scenarios. But for me, it's not my thing. I'm not talking about it. Because yeah, sex is awkward for me. So let's just not talk about it. Taboo subjects are okay to talk about. Remember that. You are allowed to talk about sex. You are allowed to talk about what you do and what you don't like, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, because you are entitled to be happy to, and so is your partner. So yeah, Molly's gonna shut up now. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry if this was as awkward for me as it was for you, because it was awkward for me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and yeah. I don't know what else to say, because I feel like I'm like super flustered and like a little bit like, oh my goodness, what did I just do? But anyway, have a good day, enjoy what you're doing, and I will see you next time. Remember to like and subscribe down below, and yeah, Molly is not a sex therapist, remember that. So yeah, see you later, bye.